In this video, we're going to give a basic overview of troubleshooting. Obviously, troubleshooting is an essential skill for any network administrator or engineer, or really anyone in the technology field. Hopefully, if you've gotten to this point in your career, you've at least done a modicum of network troubleshooting, but this video is going to go over some of the official practices and methods that you use to troubleshoot networks. Now, it's important to know how to troubleshoot even if you're a network designer. For example, if you're a network designer, you have to know how to troubleshoot your designs in a lab environment. You have to know that your design works as expected and has been validated to switch the traffic or route the traffic as you expect. Plus, you need to validate that when you force a failure scenario, that your network fails the way you expect it to. And I know you might be thinking, well, why would I want my network to fail? Well, if you build a network, you have to validate what happens when the network does not work as expected. What happens if a WAN link goes down? What happens if a particular switch goes offline? I'm of the opinion that if you've not validated failure scenarios, then you've not done your job as a network designer. And obviously, if you work on the operational side of the house, you have to know how to figure out why the network is broken, hopefully by using your troubleshooting skills and by using the documentation that your network designer gave you when he built it and tested various failure scenarios. Now, to be quite honest, Cisco has an entire course on nothing but troubleshooting that's at the CCNP level. Now, I've recorded a computer-based training for the CCNP troubleshooting exam. And I'll be honest, it was a whole lot of fun. I brought up broken networks and had to figure out exactly why they were broken. And I stepped the student that was watching the video through the troubleshooting process. And that leads me to the biggest central point when it comes to troubleshooting. The best method of troubleshooting can't really be learned from a book. You can't just read a book to troubleshoot a network any more than you could read a book to troubleshoot a car engine and just follow steps A, B, C, and D, and by the time you arrive at step E, expect everything to be fixed. Yes, there are some general guidelines and some general methods of troubleshooting that we'll go over later on in the course. But in my opinion, the best way of learning troubleshooting is to find a mentor, find someone who has done it before and knows how to get the job done, and just watch how they troubleshoot network problems or ask them questions. And I know you'll run across some people in the technology field that's like, oh, I can't be bothered with you. Go away. I don't want to answer all of your questions all the time. But a good number of people in the technology field want to share their knowledge with other professionals, and there are entire forums where they do exactly that, and we go into that at the end of the course here, and I won't go into that now. But I went through that whole diatribe there just to lead up to the point that the following videos will talk about troubleshooting in very general terms, both because it's impossible to learn all of troubleshooting from a book, but also because this is one section of a larger course, and to be perfectly honest, you're not going to learn every bit of the troubleshooting methodology just from this one section, just as you wouldn't get it if you went and bought the ICND2 book from Cisco Press. More specifically, we're going to cover the high points of two particular bullet points. Number one is troubleshooting methodologies and the troubleshooting process, how to go about figuring out exactly what's wrong with the network, and let that knowledge of what's wrong lead you to a resolution, and some very basic troubleshooting tools, most of which are built into the Cisco IOS. And that concludes our overview of troubleshooting.